pay-per-view, you want to head over to espnplus.com/ppv. A lot of former champions on this one. We got Jan Blachowicz, Henry Cejudo, Brandon Moreno, and they are all looking to stop hype trains in their respective divisions. And then we've got double title tilt headlining this show, and of course, as you guys mentioned, the man whom this fight card was built around, the reigning bantamweight champion, Merab Dvalishvili. He's entering UFC 323 on a 14-fight win streak. And with each passing fight, he looks more and more dominant. But it's not only that he feels like the most impressive champion right now, it's the fact that Saturday night is his 4th title fight in a calendar year. And with a win against Petr Yan, Merab will cement his name in the history books. Here's John Anik to give us a little more perspective.
Merab Dvalishvili's 2025 has a chance to be the greatest year a UFC fighter has ever had. Merab has already defended the bantamweight title successfully against Umar Nurmagomedov, Sean O'Malley, and Corey Sandhagen, and will face off against Petr Yan in a rematch at UFC 323. That's 4 title defenses this year, a UFC record. Now, we have seen 4 title defenses in a 12-month period before. Alex Poatan-Pineda won the light heavyweight belt in November of 2023 before defending it successfully 3 more times in 2024.
Alex Pereira is a different kind of beast.
Tito Ortiz had 4 title fights from 2000 to 2001, but never defended the belt more than 3 times in a single calendar year. The guy who's come the closest.
The one! The only!
In 2011, John Jones fought 4 times, winning all 4, capturing the light heavyweight title and successfully defending it twice.
He is absolutely, undeniably the now generation.
But not even the great Johnny Bones defended 4 times in 1 calendar year. So with a defense of his title at UFC 323, Merab Dvalishvili would stake his claim to the greatest single year in UFC history, all the while showing the world why he truly is the Machine.
A very appropriate moniker for him, the Machine. We've got 4 camps, which means 4 weight cuts, and of course 4 fights, but there's a mentality that comes to that, Chael. I mean, when we talk about Merab, we have to mention the weight cuts and how difficult they are for him. The fact that he's willing to do 4 of them in a year, and one from October to December, that's not very far apart.
Yeah, and don't forget whose idea it was. This wasn't like Dana's idea. This was Merab's idea. Merab got done fighting. He goes to the post-fight press conference, and he says, I want to fight again this year. And everybody kind of looks around and goes, well, that's just something you say. You don't really mean it. And then it was almost as though Dana wanted to call him on it. Almost as though Dana wanted him to stop saying it. So he calls him and makes the offer, and sure enough, Merab says, I'll be there. And that's really what led us to December 6th.
Well, you got to understand, anyone that competes in mixed martial arts, steps into that UFC octagon, they're a little bit crazy, right? But then there's Merab crazy.
Yes.
There's the convictions that I can cut weight, I could step in on a day-nose, I could spar 5 rounds before a fight. His convictions are amazing. He's ready to go, and he is a madman. And there's madmen in the sport, but that is the maddest of them all.
No, I absolutely agree with that sentiment. You know, Anthony, we hear the term fighting champion all the time, but not a lot of times someone obtains the title and they're like, you know what, I want to put this on the line very often. But Merab does it. How important is it for the organization to have a champion like that?
Oh, Megan, every other champion in the UFC right now, they won't admit this publicly, but they hate Merab because he's making everybody look bad because they only want, everybody wins the title and says, I want to be busy, I want to defend the title. Nobody actually does it because once you get the title, you realize how hard that life is, the appearances, just everything that comes with it. Dana says all the time, as soon as you win the title, your life changes, but your schedule changes and your income changes. You don't have to fight 3 or 4 times a year if you don't want to. You can make good money and live a pretty good life fighting once or twice a year. Well, then the UFC comes to you and they want you to say, well, Merab did it 3 times. Merab's already done it twice. He's about to do it 4 times. And now these other champions are like, well, I'm not Merab. I don't want to do that. So he's really doing the UFC a favor by showing that you can fight 4 times in a year if you want to. You can be a busy champion and give those opportunities and continue to move the division ahead.
And there's always controversy. Even if you're the champion, people still question who really is the best guy. I mean, that's just kind of the way it works. Unless you're somebody like Merab, unless you've been through the division. Just to remind you, it took 10 victories before he ever got a title shot. This is his 2nd rematch for a title, right? He's already rematched O'Malley. Now he's going to rematch Petr Yan. That's what the great George St. Pierre did when they coined the term lapping a division. Merab is on his way, even in this young run of lapping a division.
There are 2 belts on the line come Saturday night, and in the co-main event, there is another dominant champion in the form of Alexandre Pantoja, the current flyweight king. He's stepping in to face a new challenger in Joshua Van. Now, the Cannibal's consistency has garnered a ton of attention, and we even have started to hear some comparisons with him and one of the all-time greats, the former flyweight king, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. Now, those comparisons are fair. Pantoja is continuing to rack up records at flyweight. He owns the most wins, just surpassed Demetrius and Joseph Benavidez there, just shout out, and most finishes in divisional history, with the most recent one coming this past June in a rematch against Kai Kara France. But UFC 323 presents a man that may be the champ's toughest test to date. In the role of challenger is Joshua Van, who competes for the 4th time this year as well. Now, Van started 2025 unranked in the UFC flyweight division, as he took on, until then, an undefeated opponent at UFC 313. He would dominate the fight, stopping a 17 takedown attempts and winning the stand-up battle en route to a unanimous decision victory. That put the Fearless in the top 15. Ahead of his next bout at UFC 316 in June, Van outlanded Silva 125 to 76 in significant strikes. He also stopped 5 takedowns there, earning the TKO finish in the 3rd round to move his win streak to 4. And then, 3 weeks later, Josh Van would face #1 contender Brandon Royval at UFC 317 in Las Vegas, a Fight of the Year contender. And these 2 flyweights combined to land a divisional record 419 significant strikes. Van would earn the unanimous decision to secure his first title shot. He went into the octagon to face off with Pantoja after his matchup. Now Josh Van enters Saturday night with a very tough test, but man, is he confident in his abilities. But here the reigning champion Pantoja is set to partake in his 6th career title fight. But if we know anything about the challenger, Josh Van, we know that won't waver his confidence one bit at all. You know, Josh is young. He was born in 2000. He could be one of the youngest champions in UFC history. He was born in the 2000s, I should say. I mean, it's unbelievable, you know, what his confidence has done for his performances. When you guys look at a guy like Josh Van, who has ascended the ranks as quickly as he has, but as confidently and as dominantly as he has, Gilbert, is that a superpower for him?
Wow, man, that's a really good question. I think I would say yes, right? And I think a big part of the sport of mixed martial arts is having momentum and having a stride. This young man has momentum and stride. He wants to continue to run with this stride out here. And when I watch him fight, he is something special. I love that he walks down his opponent. His boxing is fantastic. His forward pressure and his jab. I think his jab is the best weapon. He paws it out. He walks forward, but he's always ready to counter and pull back and land big combinations. I believe his energy bar is super strong because he's fighting like at an 8 pace instead of a 10. He's pressing guys. They're running the perimeter. They're running miles, and he's trotting a mile, and he lets his hands go. He's definitely a special specimen, but he has the toughest task at hand.
He does, and I think him being so young, and I don't know that he even understands the situation that he's in right now. And that is a superpower. You don't know what you don't know. I don't know that he understands how good Pantoja is. And I don't know that I don't think he needs to know. I don't know that he's aware that he's been in some favorable matchups recently, including the Brandon Royval fight. And this isn't me trying to discredit his win, but Brandon Royval is my friend, but he is historically hittable. He found himself in a situation with the #1 contender that really fit his style. But I don't know that he knows that. I think that he has this, this confidence where he's going to walk forward. And a bit like Merab, he's going to fight the same. He never really changes his style. He never really changes his game plan. He's going to go in. He's going to have Thai boxing. He's going to roll. He's going to rip that left hook. He's going to defend takedowns. He's found himself in a really unfortunate position with one of the best guys in the world. But I just don't know that matters because I don't know that he understands that. So that tells me he's young and he's going to fight the exact same way.
For what it's worth, you know, Joshua Van in our fighter meetings did say that he did a ton more cardio this time around to be prepared for the pace of Pantoja. But Chael, you know, this is his first main event. It's his first title shot. What, if anything, changes for you when it comes to camp and then when it comes to fight week itself?
He's rigged the deck. This guy, to your point, is fighting for a title. It's a world championship. It's 5 rounds. It's his biggest paycheck. It's at T-Mobile. It's in the fight capital. It's in a co-main event. He does not have the pressure on him. He is not the marquee guy. He's not even next to the marquee guy. He's not even 3rd. He's 4th from the top. I am not insulting him. This is where we see the biggest upsets in MMA, and a lot of people miss this. The biggest upsets in title titles change hands more often in co-main event spots than any other spot over here, largely because you don't have to deal with the pressure. You don't have all those eyes on you. You're not carrying the weight of the world. Pantoja is, and moreover that, your main event is. Josh Van has rigged the system.
Yeah, I love it. And you mentioned Pantoja. We've got to talk about him. Oftentimes, at least in my perspective, it feels like sometimes we overlook him. He's not given the credit that he's due, Anthony. I mean, this is a dominant champion in a division that's ready to take all challengers. It feels like December here at T-Mobile is his card. You know, he's always going to compete on it. He's had rematches. He's been successful. He's defeated former champions. I mean, what's it going to take for him to have cemented one of the greats as at a flyweight champion?
Well, I think he already has cemented that spot. But if we're just being honest, his style isn't pretty. It's not aesthetically pleasing like a lot of the other champions that we. It's super effective, but it's just not as pretty. In the first 3 minutes of the fight, he looks exhausted. It doesn't change how he fights. He never fights like he's tired. It doesn't change how he moves forward, but he looks exhausted the entire time. And I just think that part of it is, if we go back to his last fight, I think if he continues to do that, I think that's going to continue to move him forward, because he fought Kai Kara-France like he was annoyed that Kai Kara-France was even in there with him attempting to win. He had this different demeanor, this doggish mentality where he just seemed like a killer. He hasn't had that previously. I think if he can continue to move forward with that kind of an attitude, that kind of a pressure moving forward, and then dominate people like that, I think he's absolutely going to continue to move forward in his popularity.
Yeah, I really don't get it. I think Pantoja is amazing. I love watching him fight. I got a chance to see him fight Brandon Moreno in that 5-round war. I thought it was an amazing fight, amazing Muay Thai striking, amazing grappling out there, attacking the back. I mean, I think this guy is nothing short of amazing. But when you have someone like Demetrius Johnson, who won 13 championships in a row, he sets a high bar for that division right there.
And Demetrius is pretty. He has a pretty fighting style, and if you compare them, they look different.
There's a shock value also to some of those finishes, Demetrius.
For sure, and I don't think that one is more skilled than the other. I think they're equal, but they just look different.
Yeah.
By the way, go ahead.
No, I'm just as a spectator, I love watching him fight. I love watching Pantoja. There's nothing about it that seems boring to me. I think maybe we need to educate ourselves more and see what's going down out there. I think he's fantastic. That's just my opinion. I don't get it.
Promote the flyweights.
I was just going to throw at you. Pantoja actually called out Demetrius Johnson, and Demetrius actually responded and said, I had my time, but you're having yours. And Demetrius was very respectful, but according to Demetrius, the best 125-pounder in the world today is Pantoja.
It's time for our predictions. Let's start in the co-main event. Chael, does the flyweight championship change hands?
No, it does not. Pantoja is just that good. Look, I'm not certain that Pantoja is going to even lose a round of this fight. However, Van is going to test him. Van is going to box with him. Pantoja is going to want to get this to the ground, get it off the feet. Van's going to earn his respect, but he's not going to take his title.
I have Pantoja as well, but I'm super excited because if there's anyone that can have the upset, it is Joshua Van. I love his jab. He pushes forward. He has the high guard. He holds his ground. He can counter with uppercuts. This guy has dynamite in his hands. I know he's going to get taken down. It's not if, it's when he's going to get taken down. Can he bounce back up to his feet? If by some miracle he bounces back up and he's in the face of Pantoja, I am going to be super excited, but I just don't see it happening. Pantoja.
Yeah, I don't see the title changing hands, but I do think that Joshua Van's stock is going to rise. I think that he's going to be competitive. I think that he's going to push Pantoja just in some spots, specifically in the striking. But I just see Pantoja getting takedowns. And if we go right back to Pantoja's last fight, I don't think that Joshua Van is a better overall fighter than Kai Kara-France. I think that would be actually a really, really fun fight to watch. But I just see Pantoja getting takedowns and just grinding on him on top. I think that he's just a monster positionally, and I think that that's going to really give Joshua Van problems. But I do think his stock is going to raise.
Okay, unanimous across the board for the Cannibal, who also has one of the best walkout songs, 50 Cent, Many Men, and he's the nicest guy ever. Chael, let's talk about the main event. The Machine is looking to make history. 4th title fight in a calendar year. Is it going to be a happy holiday for Merab?
Yes, Merab's going to win this, but it's a lot closer fight than people are talking about. I mean, Merab was a 4-1 favorite earlier this week. He's now come just over to 3-1, but I'm just sharing for you, like, Peter Yan can stand his ground. Peter Yan has a plan. Peter Yan has been in there and done this before. Peter Yan is a former world champion. Merab is going to edge him by the end of the night.
Yeah, I don't see myself ever betting against Merab at this point. He's just so dominant, and I do agree with Chael. I think this is super competitive, and I enjoyed looking back at their first fight. I was like, man, Jan did way better than I thought, and he's done better than the previous champions. If he makes some adjustments, stuffs some takedowns, maybe gets at it early, starts letting his hands go, and he's used to that pace, I think it could be a very competitive fight, but how can you pick against Merab at this point?
You know, I agree with the guys, but I also disagree with them. I think that the gap is going to be significantly wider than it was the first time.
Wow.
And I believe that because I think Petr Yan is about the same as he was when they fought the first time. I think Merab is significantly better. He's more dangerous on his feet. He's attacking submissions. His takedowns are coming smoother and cleaner and behind some boxing. When he's failing the takedown, he's boxing out of it. He's striking on the break. He's hurting people on his feet now more often than he was before. He just submitted Sean O'Malley. I mean, I just think he's grown so much since their first fight. And Petr Yan has gotten better, but I think that the gap is much larger than it was the first time.
Well, Anthony, like you said, in his last 3 fights this year, he's always seemed to add a new wrinkle to his game. He's impressed us with something new each outing. We'll see if he does that Saturday night, but the guys are in agreement with all of their predictions today for the co-main and main event. Make sure you tune in for it all. You don't want to miss a second of UFC 323. It all goes down Saturday night from T-Mobile Arena, starting at 6 Eastern on Disney+, the ESPN app, and FX. And then at 8 Eastern, you can catch the prelims on FX and ESPN2. And then, for the final time, head on over to ESPN Plus pay-per-view for the UFC 323 main card. And don't forget to watch the post-show immediately following. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts to our friends and family at ESPN who poured their hearts and souls into the coverage for all of these years, who have treated us like family. We love and appreciate all of you. Please don't be strangers. This partnership has meant more than you know. We love you. Thank you so much, guys.